you don't want to get married because you believe you're in love with somebody. You say, well, why am I get married? You're supposed to have a plan of God for marriage. See, love is not a feeling. And when you understand that love is not a feeling, then you'll put it in its right perspective. And you'll get married for the right reasons and not because you have a passion for a person. Because passion does not uphold marriages. And we discovered that on last Sunday. Because if there's people in this room, if anybody in this room has ever been divorced or you've had your heart broken because of a relationship with somebody, be it male or female, whichever you are, and you got hurt because somebody left you. See, that is a form of divorce. Even though you were not technically married to that person, every breakup is a type of divorce. And you experience the same problems in your heart that a married couple will experience when they break up. So having these passions does not uphold the marriage itself. And because if that person did something, because why? Because there are other things, in other words, that come up that is bigger than the passion. Such as adultery. You really need to have a plan of action in case one of you fail. Is it possible? Absolutely. And none of y'all know brick wall. And if you don't keep a tight prayer life and you don't communicate with your spouse well, you set yourself up for adultery. And you cross borders that you shouldn't cross in communicating with the opposite sex. You are setting yourself up for adultery. There are some boundaries you need to set in communicating with the opposite sex. I don't care if the guy said, well, you can call me Fred. No, Mr. Fred. You know what that Mr. does? It keeps you in check. Because you don't get so familiar and calling him Fred. Fred means I'm taking down my walls and I'm letting you in my space. That's Mr. Fred. And I have boundaries that I set because of that very reason. I am very, very cognizant when I'm in a male's presence, how I say, how I act, everything. Your mannerisms can explain something that only they can see. You may not have meant it, but the way they see it. Because of what's in their ideals about women. You know, we started out with our philosophy, and we're still talking about the philosophy of marriage. So, if you've ever, adultery comes up, mismanagement of money. How many times we've seen people break up because somebody can't handle money? And you don't think that's a big issue right now because you're not really, y'all money not gelling together because you're both making money, you're not married, and you get to spend your money and you can juggle it the way you want to juggle it. But when you get married, the juggling gets tighter and tighter. And if you want to buy top name brand or whatever brand you want to buy, but if there's not sufficient funds for that, what are you going to do? That's male or female. Because men got their boy toys and girls got their girl toys. And most times it's clothes, pocketbooks, shoes, jewelry. Men like cars, tools. I don't know what else, TVs. Since I ain't no man, y'all had to fill in your own point there. But mismanagement of money, you have to really get a plan of action for who's going to handle the money. Who's really better at handling the books? Is it you or is it your wife? And men, if you're not really good at keeping details, you got to drop that pride, because this is about keeping things flowing. And women, you can't make him feel like he can't do nothing because you know a little bit more about bookkeeping than he does. Because you're working together. And then here's one that most people never, ever seemingly discuss, and that's child rearing. Because your ideas about child rearing and the guy you're getting ready to marry could be so far off that it creates disagreements in the house constantly. Then there are health issues. What are we going to do if something happens to you in the first 6 months of our marriage? What do we have as a backup plan? Suppose you get pregnant in the first 6 months of being married. Is it possible? Yeah. You don't have no plan? A whole lot is possible. And in-law issues. Where are we going to set the lines? When we your folks and my folks, are we going to tell them what we really want? Or are you going to be afraid to tell your mom and your daddy that, no, I'm not going to come, and every time they holler, you jumping up doing something? We're talking about divorce behind stuff like that. Amen. So we discovered that successful marriages are the applied application of knowledge, not the exchanging of affections. See, exchanging affections, that's good. I mean, all that's, when it's emotion. But when you come out of the bedroom and you got all this stuff here looking at you, you still got to have knowledge. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7 says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Now, why you need understanding? Because understanding provides you the ability to know why something works the way it works. Knowledge provides the information, and you're supposed to convert that information into understanding. Because can't nobody get your understanding the way you get your understanding. You're supposed to take information and process it and get understanding. So I'm supposed to so why? Because we need understanding on how this works. How does money management work? How do I facilitate in this marriage? Not just information about it, but what it takes to be a woman, a wife, and a helper. Because they're not all the same. And it's all in your same body, but it's not the same position. You be a woman first. You can be a wife before you leave home. You're supposed to be a wife. That means I'm mentally prepared for marriage before I leave home. You're not supposed to trial and error. A lot of the stuff that people fail at in marriage is because they had no practice at home. Amen. Girls supposed to practice on their daddy, learn how to wait on daddy, how to submit to daddy and mama, how to get along with a man. Because men, you got to learn how to. You got to be wise to live with a man. Amen. Especially a visionary. You can't be living in the back of the woods in your thinking and live with a visionary. You're going to stifle his vision, and then he's going to stop talking to you. And you're not going to like that either. Then I'm a helper. So a helper comes as a result of being married. You're designated a helper now. A man, you can't stay a selfish little boy. And you holler and pouting and sulking because you can't get your way because you want to buy this, and you trying to convince your wife that it's time to buy this car when y'all cannot financially handle it. And she's saying, well, can't we just get something else? And you don't listen to her sound. Y'all know. See, these are the things that creep up that override your passion. And you'll discover your passion start dwindling. You have enough of these issues. Hard to go in the bedroom when you're fighting with these issues all the time. That's right. And when one tried to insist that you go in the bedroom, it becomes selfish and it's never enjoyable. And it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have a time you go in there and you not enjoy yourself. See, I'm trying to help you. Because handling finances, men, if you are not a good record keeper, take an online course. There's too much stuff out there. They got books. You can go to Lottie's, Ollie's, somebody's store. Go there somewhere. They got books for dummies. They tell you how to set up bookkeeping. Don't stay dumb because your wife is willing to do it. You're supposed to lead. And if you got sons, you're supposed to teach them. If you got daughters, you're supposed to teach them. Why? Because if you don't know, you can't transfer it. Your children will grow up not want to handle finances. You have to learn how to live with another human being other than yourself. So the art of communication has to become a priority. The art of communication, you might want to write that down, has to become the priority and not just sex. Because sex actually seals what you have said in words, in disposition, and in your actions. Sex is going to seal it. So if I'm angry with you and then we say, well, okay, we made up a little bit, but then you haven't flushed my mind of those words you said to me, sex is going to seal it. I'm just banking it. And then next time we argue, then I got more to deal with. Now my embankment is getting bigger and taller till I'm going to have a fence. And I'm not going to want to have sex with, you're not going to have sex with your spouse. And you can't even remember the first offense. But it's all there. Just enlarging, enlarging, enlarging. Now, I don't want you to do what the people in Hosea 4:6 did. It says, because they were destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because they rejected knowledge. And he says, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. See, ignorance is a choice. You might want to write that down. Ignorance is a choice. You're ignorant by choice. There are too many books out there. The Bible is full of examples of how to live right with a mate. And I'm not going to try to find them all for them, give them to you. Research. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, look it up. You cannot reject something that is not available to you. In order to reject it, it must be available. So if knowledge is available, then you cannot afford to reject it. So what the Hosea is saying, you reject the opportunities to get knowledge. So there's a seminar going on, or you hear about one of your friends say, have you heard about Pastor so-and-so? He really good in teaching. They got a strong anointing in teaching marriages. I don't like watching it, because that kind of country, Get your hand pass over there and look at something. With your ignorant self. You don't know up from down, but you're going to already decide, I don't need education. You need a lot of education on marriage. And it's ongoing. Somebody say it's ongoing. I don't care how long you've been married, you still discovering something about your spouse. That's the way God made us. That's why you can't just get settled in and say, well, I know him. I do know him. You know your spouse, but you're still learning. Because God not finished with them. And there are some reservoirs in them that God is still developing and bringing up. And you got to be willing. See, you can't be no person that's already decided, this is it. Because ignorance is going to knock you out of the ballpark. So don't reject opportunities to get knowledge. God can't help you with what you don't know. Please hear me. We're trying to ask God to help us with stuff that's already in the earth. Knowledge is already in the earth about marriage. Get it. So God can help you with it. Because you don't represent God well when we don't do life right. Amen. You do not represent God well when our marriages are failing worse than the world. Yeah. And there is a plan for that. The devil makes sure that the ideology of the world seeped into the body of Christ about marriages. And then we begin to date instead of looking for a long-term mate. And then we trial and error. And your heart get broken. And then you got to put yourself back together. Then you got to put yourself back together. And then and some people never recover. That's right. depending on how deep the infraction. Ignorance is generational. What you don't know, you can't transfer it to your children. So if not for yourself, you need to get some knowledge and understanding for your unborn children. Those of you that are not married and don't have children, or if you are married and don't have them yet, get some knowledge and understanding about marriage for the sake of your children. Don't let them grow up being ignorant about marriage. Go to the word first. Because there were some things that I grew up that I knew that the more I began to learn the word, I said, man, we believe some silly stuff. And we thought it was just as right. And you repeated it because mama said it. Daddy said it. Grandmama said it. Auntie said it. Everybody you knew was saying it. So you thought it had some importance. You can never know what a man's going to do. Don't trust no man. You always have some money in the bank on the side. See, that's what I was raised on. And they were telling me that out of their bad experiences with men. That they had nothing to do with the word. You can't let somebody teach you their life experiences and you turn around and make that your governor for your life. If they're what they went through can enhance or enlighten you on something, then glory be to God. But don't let what they went through become the foundation as to how you live. Because what they went through is not necessarily scripture. They came out of it, praise the Lord. Let's find out. Let's get some knowledge and understanding because our children are dependent on us. Amen. All right. Love is not an emotion. Now we can start where we are. Love is not an emotion. Emotions are chemically induced. You say, what? Okay, let's prove it out. When you see a man or women or man, when you see a woman, know what kicks in? Your adrenaline. Not love. Your adrenaline responds first. Chemically induced. Your heart goes up a little faster. You might feel a little lightheaded. That's not love. That's a chemical reaction. If you don't know, you need to know that. That's a chemical reaction. Your body's designed to do that when it sees something nice and beautiful. It's designed to have a chemical reaction, but it's not what you get married on. We tag it love, and then we try to marry someone based on a chemically induced reaction. Craziest thing I ever seen in my life, but people do it every day. So love is not an emotion. You can't take those little feelings, those little puppy feelings you felt, and then you got to get up every morning and look at that person in the face, and 10 years down the road, you wish you had never saw that face. What happened to that puppy love? What happened to that feeling? What happened to the feeling? The chemicals, see, your adrenaline stopped working because it doesn't excite you anymore. And you think you're out of love. No, you never was in love. You had a chemical reaction. If you said to yourself, I had a chemical reaction. Ooh, Jesus. So love is a choice. Love is the response to the understanding of value placed on a person. When you understand the value of a person. If you really don't understand the value of the person you're trying to cohabitate with, you're going to reduce them to your ideology of people. And you're going to mishandle the person that you say you want to be with. The more value someone has to you, the more you would take care of them. So little value women, if that man is not treating you right now, don't think marriage is going to solve it, because it does not. He takes more advantage of you. Value is measured by what you are willing to spend for them. How much of you are you willing to spend for them? Without expectation of them responding the same way you are giving. See, oh, Jesus. See, y'all ain't in love yet. You think you are, but I'm trying to help you. So your marriage will have longevity because it was designed to live eternally. Marriage was designed to be forever. So value is measured by what you're willing to spend. Guess what? God placed all of heaven and himself for us. And you know what we are worth? We are worth God. Now, you can't get no better than that. You are worth God. Go ahead and say that. I'm worth God.
I'm worth God.
Now, that's genuine love. And you know what he did? He did that even before you decided to accept him.
Come on now.
See, real love says, because it's a law. I'm going to get to that. Love is not an emotion. It is a choice. And it's valued by the measure of what you're willing to spend for it. When God put all of heaven and all of himself, so that because he valued us. Love is a force generated by a decision. Because true love has no feelings, but it is a choice. It is a choice. I choose to love you. Because some days I may not feel like loving you, but I choose to. That's why Jesus commanded us to love our enemies, because it's a choice. And you can do it in spite of how you feel. See, the more we praise and worship God, we are working a law. That's a law. Praise and worship is a law. And I'll get to it in just a moment because I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. Love is an act of the will. You will yourself to love someone. I will love you in spite of how you're acting towards me. I will love you. I know you're angry with me at this moment, baby, but I will love you. I love you. Not because I feel like it. I want to slap you right now, but I love you. See, you don't have to show the emotion. When you understand that emotions are a chemical-induced reaction that your adrenaline stimulates, you can get a handle on your temper. You high-temper folks. That's because you respond to your adrenaline faster than everybody else. So you do have self-control. You're just not exercising it. But I will to love you. Now here is the clincher. Love is a law. Love is a law. Laws have no feelings. Laws work when they are applied correctly. So the more I praise and worship God, I am doing a law. God says, praise me, and I come and inhabit in your praise. I come and dwell with you in your praise, in the midst of your praise. He didn't say feel like it. He said work the law. Wherever you see in the Bible, see, we are commanded to work the laws, the principles of God, not our feelings. If you're doing anything for God because you feel like it, you're going to soon run out of feelings. The law must be instituted to uphold it. The law of love has to be instituted to uphold a marriage because it has no feelings, but it will work when applied correctly. You'll get the same results whether you feel like it or not because you're applying the law. Anybody hear that? John 15, verse 9 and 10. This is Jesus talking. He says, as the Father have loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. He says, I work this principle of the law of love. And that's what I want you to continue in. Because he says, if you keep my commandments, that sounds like a law, right? Wait a minute. If you keep my commandments, then you shall abide in my love. So that means love is not connected to a feeling. It's connected to a law. It's connected to a principle that I am governed by. And it's not wishy-washy, up and down, because a law is constant. When you go out there and you hit the road and start driving, when they say 35, it don't say 35 for 5 feet and then 25 for the next 5 feet. You'll never drive, you never get anywhere like that. They got a speed limit designated based on where you are going, where the highway is, the inside when you're in a community, because that stays the same. The only time the law changes for interstates is when they are rebuilding or redoing something, and they might give you 5 miles more. But we're not talking about man-made law, because they do change. But the law of love does not change. That's why we must become astute about the law of love, because that's what upholds the marriage. That's the applied application that we must become fervent about. Oh, Jesus. Because greater love, verse 13, have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Your spouse should be your friend. Amen. And you should be willing to lay down what it takes to make them happy and live. If your wife said, baby, I really wish you wouldn't take your feet off in here, your shoes off in here, because it just stinks up the room. You say, well, I'm tired. How much do you love your wife? What kind of law are you going to work in there? Okay, how happy do you want this woman to be? Is it such a, because you know, if you ever worked in the shipyard, you had bad smelling feet. That's just the way it is. They wear those boots with those steel-toed tips, and they make your feet stink. And when my husband's in the shipyard, take them off at the door. Don't bring them all the way in the house. Air them bad boys out. Because the whole house going to smell like your feet. So what I did, see, I was a wise woman. I was a wise wife, still is. I had the bath water ready, because I could almost clock him when I knew he was coming through the door. I had his bath water ready, everything. So he go straight to the bathroom, get in the tub, take a bath, and I ain't had to worry about it. See, y'all thought it because I was just, see, I had a plan. Anybody hear that? He didn't care. He thought I was just babying him. And he'll probably hear this and he'll find out for the first time. I had a plan of action for them shoes. If I could, I'd have left them outside. But see, no greater love have any man than to lay down his own ideals for his friends. He says, you are my friends if you do whatsoever I have commanded you. All right. Romans 13, verse 10. Now let's bring this a little bit tighter. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Your wife, your partner, your husband, your wife, is your neighbor. Now I know it's talking about in general, neighbors in general, and you're not willing to work no ill. But see, when you live with somebody, that's your neighbor. Amen. And it says you're not spiteful. Love done, because see why? Because love is a law. Come on, say love is a law. And it has no feelings. So when you want to get back at somebody, that's your chemical. Oh, y'all smart. It says, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. Okay, say it out, read it out loud. Love is the of the law. So when I apply the law of love, I have fulfilled the law of love. Watch this. Because Romans 5 verse 8 says, look, God showed us the perfect example. But God commended his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, while we were yet acting ugly, Christ did the law of love. He died in our stead. Hallelujah. Are you learning? Now, love is not a gift, but it is a fruit. Look at Galatians 5, verse 22. Love is not a gift, but it is a fruit. But the fruit of the Spirit is love. First thing, love. That upholds all your joy, your peace, your long suffering, your gentleness, goodness, and faith. All of that is upheld by the law of love. When you enforce the law of love, joy can come, peace will come, long suffering. You're operating gentleness because you're not operating in your feelings. You're operating a law. And these are attributes of the law of love. These are characteristics of the law of love. Which means I can do this in spite of how I feel. I can have joy in spite of how I feel. I can have peace in spite of what's going on. I can operate in long suffering no matter how much that person act ugly. I can be gentle. I can be kind. I can operate in goodness. I can have faith because I'm upholding the law of love. Oh, man. Now, having the love of God is not the same as having the knowledge of God. We can't be stupid because you can't run off trying to operate this law of love and you don't know nothing about the law. Find out what the law says you need to do to assist it. Amen? Amen. All right. Remember the example that because one thing that Apostle Paul wrote in Philippians 2, verse 5, you can go there whenever you feel like it. And he talks about allowing this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. So in other words, I've been commanded to know what Jesus knows in order to succeed in this law of love. How did Jesus do it? Because Jesus instituted the law of love. The whole New Testament is based on the law of love, not works. Okay, so my example that I think I gave on last Sunday was, we'll use it again. You can have a complete tool set and still can't fix your car. I tried that because I got a whole lot of tools. I like tools. Some people, I got me 2 tool bags, one upstairs, one downstairs. You go in my house, I got plenty of hammers. The men that been in my house, they know I got hammers in my house. I like tools. Can't fix a car. I had to ask my son, where to put the windshield stuff in the car? Because I couldn't figure it out. The way they make these kind of cars, I couldn't figure out where the windshield stuff went. And he had to go there for see. But what was missing? Knowledge and understanding. Knowledge and understanding was missing. It wasn't because I didn't have tools. I had love. I had the law. I had love. But I didn't have no understanding. And all that gathered, remember the scripture we started with? Wisdom is the principal thing. So wisdom is actually the applied application of understanding. But he said, all that get understanding. Because if I don't know how the law works, I'm going to still violate the law of love. Even though I know the law exists. But if I don't know how it works, I'm going to violate that law. So these two are extremely crucial when you approach a marriage. You must get knowledge and you must get understanding about marriage before you approach it. Because you're going to violate marriage. You're going to mishandle your spouse. And marriage is not designed so you can go 20 years before you discover that, you know what, I'm supposed to be nice to you. You're not supposed to suffer through hell before your mate wake up. See, a lot of the stuff that we have patterned our marriages after is because they chose the wrong pattern to have their marriage. And we get the results they got. So we think marriage is, okay, we say marriage is a struggle. Girl, let me tell you something. It's nice, but it's a job. It's a job. You're making it hard. And where do you get that idea from? Somebody who had a messed up marriage. And because they stayed in the same house, you thought, well, they've been married together, they live together. Oh, that don't make marriage. Come on now, y'all know better than that. You've been here with us too long to know that's not true. All right, just about finished. Got a few more points. Love is not conditional. If you place a reason why you love somebody, not talking about affections now. We're not talking about affections, because you can have affections for a person. If you can place a reason why you love someone, that reason becomes a condition that has to be maintained by that person. I love them because they smile. Now they got to smile every day. You can't never. I love them because they got a good job. You better hope you never lose your job. That they downsize. What happened to the love? You're going to have a fight in your house. And you got to get another job somewhere. Because in your house, part of the condition is that you work. That's not love. Or you're the right size. Or he got an athletic build. He better not get a keg instead of six-pack. Or long hair or short hair. She better not cut it if it's long, or he better not cut it if it's short. It's all kinds of crazy stuff that people have. Wherever there are conditions, expectation is created. I expect you to look this way forever. That is unrealistic. Like he ain't gonna never change. Or she ain't gonna never change. Everybody changes. If you don't think so, you need to go back and look at them pictures when you were 5. You changed. These conditions must not change or relationship could be in danger. Unrealistic expectations create division. See so love is not conditional. I don't put those kind of unrealistic expectations. I go into it knowing that, baby, look, I know when you get pregnant, you're going to gain some weight. If you don't believe that, a lot of men, a lot of women have premature babies because they got unrealistic husbands who want them to stay size 8 while they're pregnant. Yeah, it's real. Unrealistic expectations create division. To be divided is to have two visions under the same roof. If not educated and healed, this will lead to divorce. In other words, death of a union. Because that's what divorce is death of a union. Which means death of a purpose is more likely to happen. Because most people never successfully recover from divorce, where they get back into the flow of what God called them to be. Because divorce takes something away from them. Because somebody had an unrealistic ideal about marriage. Nobody walks away from divorce not suffering. Everybody suffers. And in Matthew 19, and this is the account where Jesus was talking, and he says, And for this cause shall a man leave father and mother and shall cleave to his wife. Men, I know you love your mother. My son loves me, but I'm not his wife. I ain't trying to be Taylor. When he hungry, I said, you better call Taylor. That's your woman. I got me a husband. Ask him. I tell him, you know, he tell me, saying, Mama, can you? Then he come and say, Mama, will you fix us? Oh yeah, I'll fix that for you. Cause he likes oatmeal. If Taylor not home, I'll fix it for him. If Taylor home, I said, your wife upstairs, call her. I ain't trying to step in and be heard. Cause that's his boo, right? All right, got my boo. And it says, and the twain shall be one flesh. And you can't become one flesh when father and mother is always in your business. Amen. Many marriages have been destroyed because of in-laws. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God have joined together, let no man put asunder. Let no man divide or create divorce, because God put you together. And if God put you together, you say God brought us together, then there should not be a whole lot of issues that you are not willing to work out. Amen. Because the God kind of people know how to overcome. Amen. And then they said, well, why did Moses allowed the people to divorce? He said, because of the hardness of their heart, nobody will yield. See, there is no irreparable marriage. I don't care how bad it's been broken or shattered. It can be repaired, but it takes both people willing to surrender to God and to the Word to get it fixed. Now, divorce creates dysfunctional families. Remember, you can live under the same roof and be divorced. That means divided in your hearts and your ideas about marriage. You learn to cohabitate for the sake of finances or children. So what was God's ideals of marriage? According to Genesis 1:26, this union was to dominate the earth, bringing the same order, the same wealth, and riches they experienced in the garden first. They were supposed to be productive Christians. They were supposed to be productive people. You're supposed to be a productive Christian before you decide to get married. Okay, I'll talk to this chair. That's why we have so much failure in the church. Because unproductive people getting married, they don't have no experience in working with God. Because they've been on a hunt for a mate for the last 20 years. Come on now. You're supposed to be productive as an individual first, so that marriage can benefit from your productivity. And see, a lot of the issues that families deal with would never be issues if you had allowed the man or the woman to become productive. Usually the women chase the men before they're ready. Amen. Let's tell the gospel. That's right. Yeah. And you scared somebody that's going to grab him, so you get him, and then you got to raise him. Come on now. Am I telling the truth? Yes, you are. I didn't say you don't grow together, because you should grow together. I'm talking about he don't know anything about marriage. You don't know anything about marriage. And see, you can't dominate from a place of ignorance. That don't work this law over here. I'm going to violate the law of that bell today. Give me just 5 more minutes. Amen. And see, they were supposed to take that and dominate and bring that same order and wealth and riches they experienced in the garden and then procreate. That's right. So marriage was designed to do 2 things. Was designed to be fruitful and productive first. And since Adam had already started his, God brought him a wife. Now together they were supposed to bring more, because outside of the garden, the earth was still messed up. And it was their assignment to go out and restore what the devil had torn up in the earth. And as a result of that, now you got children coming in on a legacy that they can work with. Because daddy got a plan of action. And mama working alongside him. And ain't no, well, this my stuff, your stuff, my business, your business. Everything is ours. Amen. And we're leaving an inheritance to our children. Amen. And it's up and running. See, it's no fussing and fighting when you're in this thing for the right reason. Amen. And your children should not experience all the hardships they experience, because now you are messing with their little tender hearts, and they are forming their ideas about marriage from you. They are learning from you. Even if you're not saying it, they're learning from you. This is why you got to live it before them. Talk it before them. Let them see daddy treating mama right. Let them see mama treating daddy right. And when daddy make a mistake, mama don't embarrass him in front of the kids. And when mama make a mistake, daddy don't embarrass her in front of the kids. That's not the time to chastise. You go and talk to one another. Get it ironed out so the kids will get a picture right. Amen. Nobody wants to be corrected. And certainly not in front of your kids. Amen. And in front of all your friends. You know, this is a freebie. I was at somebody's house one time, and I was so appalled that this person took opportunity to belittle his wife. I got so sick on my stomach, I'm going like, I got to get out of here. Because I'm going like, I don't care what she done, that's your woman. You married her. If you didn't like it, you should have never married her. But to take this as an opportunity, and I said, no, definitely not going to use me as the gauge. That's your woman. She fit for you. I'm fit for this man right here. You hear? I'm fit for Dell. You can't take me. Now, I can be a model. I can be somebody that you can look up to, because I'm going to be a godly wife and mother, and I'm going to be a godly image to you. But you got to find out what works in your house. Right. Amen. Right. Take the principles, the law that I live by, work them, and it'll work in your house. Right. But those specifics, you got to discover. My husband don't like that. Your husband may not like beans. My husband like beans. You can't go home cooking a bunch of beans. That's right. And then you create an argument. Girl, time I turn around, you cooking beans. What's wrong with you? Well, Pastor, please don't do that to me. Amen. Let him discover his own taste for beans. See, this is where we get off. But that's a freebie. Did you learn anything today? Amen. Come on, stand to your feet.